Johnny Dollar.
Well, now, how do you, Johnny? This is Ripley Tita, Worldwide Mutual Insurance.
Well, hi, Rip. How's dear old Memphis, Tennessee?
Finest town on God's green earth, Johnny. Always was, always will be.
Well, now, when did you join the Chamber of Commerce?
What, sir?
Say, isn't it just about time for your big annual celebration?
Oh, you're too late, Johnny. The Cotton Carnival's all over and done with for this year.
Now, you should have called me sooner.
Well, now, why, Johnny? These fine people here in Memphis never give us any trouble.
Well, what are you calling about?
Trouble, Johnny. Real big trouble.
I thought you just finished up. Scratchpad, I'll copy the policy.
Yeah, go right ahead. And like you see, she lives right here in town. Works in 5 and dime, I understand. And there's a nephew, also named Volney Beauregard Exum. Lives down Corpus Christi, Texas, yeah, see?
All right, I got it.
Then there's other nephew named Culpepper Van Buren Oglethorpe right there in Somerville. Works at a real estate office. Although it beats me how he makes a living at it. Yeah, that's all, Johnny. Just those 3.
Okay. In other words, they're the only ones who will benefit by Exum's death, huh?
Well, now, that's right, Johnny, but surely you don't think one of them could have killed him?
Why not?
Fine old Southern family like that?
Did he have any enemies that you know about?
Fine old man like Volney Beauregard Exum?
Did he have many friends?
Well, no. No, I guess he didn't, really. Kind of just kept to himself, living out his days there on the plantation house. All alone with just his pride, just living out his days.
You mentioned a housekeeper.
Yeah, well, Miss Dollar Cato just did some day work for him. And don't you go suspecting her, Johnny. Why, she couldn't hurt a fly.
Well, you are a lot of help.